Hey there everyone. This is part 2 of our video series in which we are talking about how we can connect Ansys and Excel, since many of you might not be working on an organization where there is any SQL server established. So you can use Excel, which is already placed in some shared drive accessible to everyone. So in previous video we have seen how we are connecting with this Excel sheet using Excel interop. So it had some drawbacks as well. For example, it's not easy to access this, for example adding a filter, inserting some rows, or updating certain things. But if you already know SQL, which is very much important, yeah, and you can just directly access this table, you can access this sheet as a table. So you can just do select star from sheet where id is equal to 33. You will get the name, like select name from sheet 1 where id is equal to 33. You can update sheet 1, set name is equal to cc test where id is equal to 33. That also you can do, but the only disadvantage is you cannot do a delete statement. You can consider is it as an advantage for security reason that people should not delete anything. They can update it, but update is also not very much allowed. But yeah, they can keep inserting rows, new data, ansys data. So let's see how to do that. So here in previous video you have seen that we were using the CLR module, and in CLR module we were importing Microsoft Excel interop. Here we are going to do system data, which is by default present in any Microsoft Windows installation. And then from system.data, here we will import OLEDB. So this is the connector, or you can say this is the module which we are going to use entirely in this video. And in previously it was Excel. From Excel we were importing an application class which was Excel.application class, and then we were assuming that application class as an Excel. But here OLEDB is like a connector. If you have watched my SQL server or MySQL videos, you must have remember that we are importing SQL connection there. From SQL connection we are sending a SQL command, executing the query, reading that from the output, or let's say doing a execute non-query. So similarly everything will be done here using OLEDB. From here we are going to create connection, commands, all executions, everything. Data set, once we execute OLEDB connection with a query, if it is returning something, we have to store that returned object or return data into a data set. So this will be the data set. Now data set will have multiple tables, but here in Ironpython 2.7.4, which we are executing in Ansys, you will be allowed to access only one table per sheet. So the index will always be table 0. So data set table index 0 will be our data table. So you don't have to create a data table separately. It's up to you, but we are not going to do that, and we will assign this data table into a variable. From there we are going to read this. So this was on what is required. Now coming to connection string, this connection string is slightly different from mm, the connection string which we have used in uh, Ansys and MySQL. So I will just show you that as well. So I always love this website. So here uh, we are going to access ACE OLEDB connection string. So there is one more connection string which is Microsoft JET OLEDB, but we are going to access ACE because ACE will allow you to access Excel which has a format XLSX. But if you want to use CSV, then you have to use JET. So right now I have Excel here. So here you can see all the connection strings here. And if you remember in our SQL Server video, our connection string were having uh, keyword arguments, like this was variable parameter name and we were sending a value. But here everything is one string. So even you see this provider, everything is going into one string, and even here data strong will be going. So here you don't see any comma here. So this is one important observation. And then once you send the path, so we are going to use the same Excel sheet which is ansys.excel. And then this properties is very much important for all the Excels which are greater than, which are made after 2007. You have to use Excel 12.0. SDR is also important in our case. SDR tells that you have to assume that first row is my column name. So you have to tell Ansys that my Excel sheet has headers. So this is one important thing. And once you do that, you have to create a connection string using OLEDB connection class, and you have to pass the connection string. Now rest everything is same. We have to pass the query. For now, I will just do select star from sheet name. So here you cannot send any table name. For example, if you have converted this into a table, it is of no use. The table will be always first index. It's good to have table, but anyway, if you insert certain rows, it will not be a part of the table. It will add it separately. I have already tested it, so I will keep the same way which it is looking. I am not going to convert this into a table. And then you have to create a OLEDB class using OLEDB command. Here, if you remember method 3, which we have seen explicitly in SQL Server video, so you have to pass connection query and connection in one go. It is very useful. And then we are going to do the print of all the rows that is it is going to read. For example, so I will go through this. First we will open the connection. This is very important, and we will close at the end. Even if this command fails after this connection, you have to catch that exception. If you want, you can print that error, and then again you have to close it after this exception. Otherwise your connection will remain open and next operation will not happen properly. Now once you have this query, you need to catch that data. So we are going to catch it using an adapter. So it's called OLEDB adapter. I have also written what it is used for. This is used to fill the data into the data set. So we are going to cache that data. It is going to come into an adapter. So, and we pass this command which we created using this query and connection. Once we have this adapter, we are also creating a dataset class which we already imported, and we are going to add this adapter data into the dataset. You see, it's not returning anything. Instead, this adapter is filling all the data into the Excel dataset, and we will close the data. That now it's no use. Now, as I said earlier, Excel dataset will have multiple tables, but we are going to use only one. Even if you have other tables like ID and name, if you have it let's say you have it here, it's of no use. Even if I put ID 1 and name 1, I will show you that it is not going to capture it. I will keep as it is, save it and close. You will see I am going to print all the table names. It will always print only one table. So it's important that you access the data table of first index. Then we will go through all the rows. In row, I have now you are assuming this data as a table. So you can pass the index names. For example, row of ID is my ID, row of name. I don't have address now. I'll just, or else I can add the address. So that I don't change my code, I will go and pass address here. So I will just, all right, I will save it, close it, and let me print this. So I will be printing ID, name, and address. So this is using this data set. Once I do that, most of you might be getting this kind of error, so it's very important to understand this. So OLEDB is meant to run on a 32-bit application, but since Ansys is a 64-bit application, and even the Ironpython it is running is a 64-bit application, you have to make sure that your Office products are also 64-bit, and the database engine, Microsoft Access database engine 2010, is also of 62-bit. So if these are matching, then only it will run. You can always check which version of Python you are running. So you just have to do import platform, and from platform you can print the architecture. So it will be platform.architecture. Okay. So you will see we are running on a 64-bit. So I already have the Microsoft Access database engine, which is of 64-bit now. So if I run it, I should not be getting any issue. So once I do that, you will see. So right now it was able to access only one table. So that's the reason here I have a print statement which prints all the tables. So it accessed only this one. All right. So I have 1 2 3 4 and 6. So same thing you will be seeing here, and this is quite fast. Interrupt is slightly heavy. This is quite fast as well. Now let me do, this is for selecting or printing this statement. You can also add a filter. For example, in my query I will just run select star from sheet 1 where ID is equal to 44. So if you run it, you will notice that you are getting only one row, and from here, instead of getting everything, let's say here you have a force, you have a unit, you want to create a quantity, so here you can just access the name and the address. Okay, so these are a couple of ways to do some filter. Let's move on to next one, which is like doing a non-query. So I will just delete this query section, and now I will do a insert query. So let me just copy this. Here I am trying to insert into sheet 1. I have 3 columns, ID, name, and instead of 66, let me put 55 at the end, and it will be FF, and this will be FFF, and this is my query. And in previously we were adding a data set into a data table, and from data table we were printing it, but now we don't want any output. For that reason, you can just directly do a execute non-query. So this is that one. So here uh, here we are opening a connection and then closing it, and before closing we are just executing a non-query. So you are not trying to get anything that this command is returning, so you just have to execute it. You are not bothered about is what it is returning, and then it will just go there and insert this value. Now this value can also be a variable. For example, this one you can also do in couple of ways. For this one, here I will just do @id, and here I will do @name, and here I will do @address. So these are like making a query parameterized. So here I am not sending a value, but later I will have to uncomment this and tell commands.parameter add with value. So in this query command, I have to add this parameter like ID, wherever @id is there, fill it with 55 and so on. So this is one way, and there is one more way where how you can do. For example, this one here you just have to pass question mark, question mark, question mark. So this way also you can do. So here also it will go in order. So if it is like ID, it will go to ID, it will go in order. So this is not preferred, but you can pass this parameterized variable name. So once I run this, you will see command is not defined. Okay, so command is oledb dot oledb command query comma connection. So yeah, once you do that, it is telling query executed successfully. Just open our Excel, and hopefully we should see the last column, so which is 55, FF, and triple F. So how do we delete it? So for deleting, okay, so one thing I want to update you: deleting is not possible. I've told this in the beginning of the video as well. You can update it. So for example, here instead of here 66, I want instead of FF as EE. Okay, so what I will do, I will just create an update statement. I will comment this out, and here I will tell that update sheet set id is equal to, not id, I want to update the name is equal to, it will be a single quote string, and instead of ff I want ee, where id is equal to 55. I will show the Excel again. So where id is 55, not 55, 66. When id is 66, I want double e. So here I will make it 66, and I want name to be E. So if I do this, it says query executed successfully. If I go there, you will see 66 has become E. So this way you can do that. I think we can access this one as well. So it will be H1 to I3. Let's check this. H1 to I3. So here in sheet name, I will just copy the one which is used to execute a select statement. So here after dollar I will just put what was it? It was H1 to I3. So it will be H1 to I3. Let's see if it is returning something. Select star, address is not there, and even this address is not here. Let's see if it is working or not. Column ID does not belong to table. Okay, so this is not reading this h1 to I3. Sorry, it is id1. I did a mistake. It will be id1, name 1. Let's do that. Oh wow, it's working. So here, I mean, if you don't send anything, by default it will take this. And if you have multiple tables like data, you can pass the address. So for this, I have passed h1 to I3. So here it is. It is here. So I think that's it for this video. I hope you have enjoyed, and if you have learned something, please hit a like and don't forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.